every one of you must have a wonderful journey. Today we went to the Imalitala at the bank of Yamuna, where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to chant from early morning to the late afternoon. So I hope that everyone must have a wonderful journey. As I said, that I'm in a Naperville, so I don't have the list of the regular devotee who join every day, so I won't be able to recognize everyone. But also I would like to recognize so many Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis who joined today locally with me from Naperville. So all glories to the Naperville devotees, Sisi Radha, Shyam Sundar's Bhakta Sangh. So today is also the most auspicious day of the Guru Purnima and also the disappearance day of Sanatan Goswami. So we will describe the life. When we read the life of those exalted personality, may something may touch our heart and give us some impetus to become serious in our devotional practice. So in his Lagu Vaishnava Tosni, Sri Jiva Goswami, oh sorry, I didn't, Prabhu, I'm sorry. Raghav Chaitanya Prabhu, please play the song. Hari Bol.
বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর দয়ার সাগর এ দাসে করুণা করি ওহে বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর দয়ার সাগর এ দাসে করুণা করি ওহে বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর দয়ার সাগর হে দাসে করুণা করি ওহে বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর দয়ার সাগর হে দাসে করুণা করি দিয়া পদ ছায়া সদ হে আমায় দিয়া পদ ছায়া ছায়া সদা হে আমায় নিরাপদ ছায়া সদা হে আমায় তোমার চরণ ধরি তোমার চরণ ধরি আর তোমার চরণ ধরি তোমার চরণ দশ সধি ছয় গুণ দেহ দাসে ছয় বেগ দমি ছয় দোষ শোধি ছয় গুণ দেহ দাসে ছয় বেগ দমি ছয় দশ সধি ছয় গুণ দেহ দাসে সত সঙ্গ দেহ হে আমারে ছয় সত সঙ্গ দেহ হে আমারে ছয় শত সঙ্গ দেহ হে আমারে ছয় শত সঙ্গ দেহ হে আমারে বসেছি সঙ্গে রয়াসে বসেছি সঙ্গে রয়াসে আর বসেছি সঙ্গে রয়াসে বসেছি সঙ্গে রয়াসে একাকী আমার নাহি পায় বল হরি নাম সংকীর্তনে একাকী আমার নাহি পায় বল হরি নাম সংকীর্তনে করি শ্রদ্ধা বিন্দু দিয়া তুমি কৃপা করে শ্রদ্ধা বিন্দু দিয়া তুমি কৃপা করি শ্রদ্ধা বিন্দু দিয়া তুমি কৃপা করে শ্রদ্ধা বিন্দু দিয়া দেহ কৃষ্ণ নাম ধনে দেহ কৃষ্ণ নাম ধনে আর দেহ কৃষ্ণ নাম ধনে দেহ কৃষ্ণ নাম ধনে কৃষ্ণ সে তোমার কৃষ্ণ দিতে পারো তোমার শক্তি আছে কৃষ্ণ সে তোমার কৃষ্ণ দিতে পারো তোমার শক্তি আছে কৃষ্ণ সে তোমার কৃষ্ণ দিতে পারো তোমার শক্তি আছে কৃষ্ণ সে তোমার কৃষ্ণ দিতে পারো তোমার শক্তি আছে আমি তো কাঙাল কৃষ্ণ কৃষ্ণ বলি 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 ধাই তব পাছে পাছে ধাই তব পাছে পাছে আর ধাই তব পাছে পাছে ধাই তব পাছে পাছে ওহে বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর দয়ার সাগর এ দাসে করুণা করি ওহে বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর দয়ার সাগর এ দাসে করুণা করি জয় বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর জয় বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর জয় বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর জয় বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর জয় বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর জয় বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর
Thank you very much, Raghav Chaitanya Prabhu, for playing a wonderful song. So we will continue reading. The family lineage beginning with Sri Sarva, who was a Yajurvedi Brahmana, Bharadvaj Gotriya from Karnataka. His son was Sri Anuruddha Dev, who had two sons, Sri Rupeshwar and Sri Harihar Dev. There was apparently some altercation between the two brothers, who had different mothers. Anuruddha Dev had two wives, as a result of which Sri Rupeshwar, along with his wife and 8 horses, came to Polotsia Desh, where he was befriended by the ruler of that land, Sri Sekareswar. Sri Padmanabha Dev, the son of Sri Rupeshwar, was extremely learned in all the Vedas. He came with his family to live at Naihati on the bank of Ganga. He had 8 daughters and 5 sons. His 5 sons, following in the footsteps of their predecessors, were very expert in the study of the Vedas. Their names were Purushottam, Jagannath, Narayan, Murari, and Mukundadev. Mukundadev's son, Sri Kumar Dev, being oppressed by some of the other family members, came to live at Bakla, Chandradweep. Sri Kumar Dev had many sons, among whom Sri Amar, Sanatan, Sri Santosh, Sri Rupa, and Sri Vallabha Anupama were a great devotee of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sri Sanatan was born in the Christian year 1488. He, along with his brothers, began his study their material uncle house in a small village, Sakurma, near the capital of Gauradesh. The Batsa Hussain Shah, living, heard of their profound scholarship and intelligence, decided to engage the 2 brothers as his ministers. Though they were unwilling, the order of the Vatsa could not be entirely neglected. Thus, they came to live at Ramkali, the capital of Gaurades at that time, and were presented much wealth by the Vatsa. Many Brahmanas and Pandits from distant land would stay with Rupa and Sanatan wherever they would come to Ramkeli, especially those from Karnataka and Navadvip. There is still a house near the Ganga called Bhattabati, which is said to have been their residence. They had many instructors and professors in rhetoric. Their teacher was C. Vidyabhushan. They were trained in philosophy by the brother of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, Sri Vidya Chaspati, as well as Sri Parmanand Bhattacharya. Sri Ramapada, Bhadrapada. Their names have been mentioned in the commentary of the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. These three brothers were from childhood endowed with a great devotion to the Lord. In memory of Sri Vrindavan, near their residence, they planted many auspicious trees such as Tamal, Kadamba, Juthika, and Tulsi. In the midst of this garden constructed Shyamkund and Radhakund. In this auspicious surrounding, they always remained absorbed in the service to Sri Madan Mohan. Having heard something about the famous Nimai Pandit, they became anxious to have his darshan and always meditate on when they might get a chance to see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. One morning, Sanatana Goswami saw a dream in which one Brahmana was presenting the Srimad Bhagavatam to him. Suddenly he woke up, but seeing that no one was there, he felt sad. Later on in the same morning, after he had finished his bath and performed a puja, one Brahmana came to his house and presented him with the Bhagavad, instructing him to study it very thoroughly. Having received it in this way, he was beside himself with bliss, and from that day, considering the Bhagavad to be the essence of all scripture, he began to study thoroughly. My only constant companion, my only friend, Guru, wealth, that which has delivered me, my great fortune, and the source of my good luck, the form through which I taste pleasure. My obeisances to you, Srimad Bhagavatam. When the brothers learned that Nimai Pandit, the life and soul of Nadia, has accepted the sannyas order and gone to stay at the Jagannath Puri, they fainted dead away. Having lost hope of getting his darshan, they were a little pacified only after a celestial voice informed them that they would be able to see the Lord here in Ramakeli. So after 5 years has been passed, Mahaprabhu decided to come to Bengal to have the darshan of his mother and Mother Ganga. All of the devotees were in ecstasy, and Sachi Mata was so overjoyed that she was not even aware of her own body. After spending a few days with Advaita Acharya in Santipur, he came to Ramkeli. So Sakar Malik, his original name, Sanatan Goswami, and Dabir Khas, Rupa Goswami, along with their brother, Sri Vallabha Anupama, who had a son who was just a small child, was Jiva Goswami. They offered salutations at the lotus feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. After Mahaprabhu had left Ramkeli to return to the Puri, the brothers began to observe some vow and rituals in order to obtain shelter at his lotus feet. So without taking the vow in our life, it's impossible to take the shelter. After sending the family member to their residence at Chandradvip and Fathiabad, Sri Rupa and Anupama loaded a boat with their accumulated wealth and left Ramkeli. Sanatan remained there alone. Thereafter, Rupa and Anupama, having received news of the Mahaprabhu's journey to Vrindavan, set out to meet him. Arriving at Prayag, their desire was fulfilled. At that time, they informed Mahaprabhu that their brother had been incarcerated at Ramakali. Mahaprabhu simply smiled and replied that he would get his freedom very soon. Meanwhile, after the success and departure of Rupa and Anutama, Sanatan was planning how he also could make his getaway. The Batsa had entrusted the Bir Khas and Sakar Malik with the main responsibility of managing the affairs of his kingdom. So when Sanatan stopped attending his darbar on the plea of being ill, he sent his personal doctor to examine him, and the doctor informed him that there was nothing wrong with Sakar Malik. And so the Batsa personally came there to find out what was the matter. So the Batsa addressed Sanatan Goswami, quote, "My doctor says that you are perfectly healthy. All my affairs depend on you, but you are simply sitting in your house in the company of these Pandits. Your brother has also left. In this way, my kingdom will topple. I don't know what you are trying to do this." So Sanatan Goswami replied, quote, "We will no longer be able to assist you in the affair of your government. You had better find someone else to do it." The Bhagda got up in the great anger and declared, "You brothers have ruined my plans." So Sanatan Goswami replied, "You are the independent ruler of Gauda. If you feel anyone has committed only any misdeed, then you can punish them as you wish." So Batsa had Sanatan imprisoned. And during this time, Batsa was preparing to go to Orissa to engage in warfare with the king of that country. So he requested Sanatan to accompany him, and Sanatan Goswami refused, telling him, "As you will naturally try to give pain to the deities in the temples and the sadhus, I will not be able to accompany you." So therefore the Batsa set out for Orissa, leaving Sanatan imprisoned. At this time, Sanatan received a letter from Rupa Goswami, his younger brother, stating that he had deposited 800 gold coins with one grocer. And with the help of this money, Sanatan Goswami should immediately arrange his release. The account of his escape and journey to meet Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Varanasi is found in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter 20. After that, he went to Vrindavan. So in a kutir cottage made from leaves, Sanatan Goswami lived for some time at the Mahavan, the birthplace of Lord Sri Krishna. So one day he was walking along the banks of the Yamuna, going to bag some foodstuff in a nearby village. And Madan Gopaldev was playing with some cowherd boys there. And when he saw Sanatan Goswami, he came running toward him. Quote, "Baba, Baba." Catching hold of Sanatan's hand, he told him, "I want to go with you." "Lala," replied Sanatan, "why do you want to go with me?" "I want to stay where you live." "If you stay with me, what would you eat?" "Baba, whatever you eat, but only eat some dry chapatis and chickpeas. Then that's what it is, I will eat." "No, that won't be enough for you. You should stay with your mother and father." "No, Baba, no, I want to stay with you." So Sanatan Goswami patiently explained that boy that might feel difficulty if he stayed with him and sent him home. Then he went to bake some chapatis in the village. That night, in a dream, he saw that boy again came to him and smiling very sweetly, he caught hold of Sanatan's hand and said, "Baba, I'm coming tomorrow to stay with you. My name is Madan Gopal." His dream ended and he woke up, losing himself in great ecstasy. He said to himself, "What did I see? Such a beautiful boy." Thinking of Lord Krishna, he opened the door to his hut and saw standing outside a beautiful deity of Gopal. His effulgence shone in all directions. For a few seconds, Sanatan was completely stunned as he gazed upon the Gopal's radiant smile. He expected that the deity may say something or come toward him. Finally, tears of love gliding down his cheeks, Sanatan fell to the ground, offering his danvan to the Gopal deities. And gradually, He performed Gopal's Abhishek, bathed the deities, and offered worship to him. Sanatan's brother Rupa came there and seeing the deity was deeply moved in aesthetic love. Sanatan kept the deity with him in his leaf hut and began to worship him with a great happiness. Srila Rupa Goswami immediately sent word of his auspicious event to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at Puri. According to the different perspectives of vision of various devotees, Krishna's pastimes might sometime be described in different ways. One time Ramapat Swami Maharaj was giving class in the home program and he was describing the Kalya Lila. And I was driving back home and Maharaj was saying that all the gopis and gopas, they were so much in anxiety that because the Kalya was spreading so much poison in Vrindavan. So they were so afraid that they may lose our dear Krishna. So they were crying and trying to see the situation. So while coming back, I mentioned to Ramapat Swami Maharaj, then Maharaj, when you were describing, I was thinking something that because in Vrindavan there is no concrete road, it's a mud road. So when the torrents of rain was coming out from all the Brajvasis, all these things will become so slippery and muddy. So even though the devotees Brajvasis want to go, they were not able to go. It increased the love for Krishna when difficulty comes, even though they wants to go. And Ramapan Maharaj says, in spiritual world, everything is possible. Haribol. So like it says over here that it's very, very difficult to understand Krishna's pastime. So putting more or less emphasis on the external event that surrounded the internal moods and sentiment felt by Krishna and his devotee in light of this. It has been described in the Prema Vilas that Madan Mohan deity resided at the home of one Mathura Brahman, Damodar Kop by name, subsequent to the period of time during which he was worshipped by Sri Advaita Acharya Damodar Kop. His wife Vallabha and their son Madan Mohan used to worship the deity in mood of parental affection and friendship. So Damodar Kapo's son used to play together with Lord Madan Gopal, and sometimes, like naughty brothers, they would slide one another and then complain to the parents, and their parents would feed them together at the same time and lay them down to rest together. So Sanatan Goswami used to sometimes bag chapatis from Kobe's house. And when he saw how the deity was being worshipped, he would instruct Damodar's wife, Vallabha Devi, in the rules and regulations of proper deity worship. However, she found all these rules very difficult to follow. One day, when Sanatan saw the deity of Madan Gopal and the Moy Madan Gopal eating their lunch together, he became moved by the transcendental mood there, and the symptom of aesthetic love appeared in his body. Then he told Vallabha Devi that she should worship Madan Gopal according to the dictates of her heart. So one night, Sanatan Goswami and Damodar Kavi's wife both had a dream simultaneously, in which Madan Gopal requested to be able to come and live with Sanatan Goswami in great happiness. Sanatan received Madan Gopal from the family and him to a small hillock near Surjaghat, where he constructed a small hut made of branches and leaves. Then he began to serve Madan Gopal, preparing offering for him from whatever he obtained by begging. So one day, Madan Gopal refused to eat, complaining that there wasn't even any salt in the chapatis. And Sanatan replied, today it's salt and tomorrow it will be ghee. But I'm sorry, I don't have the time or the inclination to chase around after rich men requesting special items from them. Having silently listened to his reply, Madan Gopal didn't say anything further, but rather arranged that Krishna Das Kapoor would come that way. as will subsequently be described. So Sanatan Goswami would bag some flour from the village and then with some prepared chapatis for Madan Gopal. Sometime he would collect some forest vegetables, roots or spinach and also prepare some vegetables. If sometime there was no ghee or oil or salt, then he would just cook dry chapatis. But he felt very bad about this. On the other hand, he could not see an alternative. Mahaprabhu has ordered him to compile Bhakti Shastras, devotional scriptures, and the major portion of his time was devoted for that purpose. So sometimes it simply wasn't possible to find time to bag some money with which to purchase the salt or the oil. Madan Gopal is the son of Maharaj. Seeing that, he is simply eating dry chapatis. Sanatan felt very sad. Madan Mohan, who is within the heart of everyone, could understand. Sanatan wants to render greater service to me than Madan Mohan himself desired that his service might be increased. So within a few days, a wealthy Kshatriya named Sri Krishna Das Kapoor came to Mathura to engage in trades and business. But by chance, however, his boat became stuck on the sandbar in the Yamuna, and there was no means to be managed to free it. So by he came to learn that a sadhu by the name of Sri Sanatan Goswami was living nearby. In order to seek the blessings of the sadhu, Krishna Das Kapoor came to his hermitage and found Sanatan Goswami engaged in the writings. So Sanatan Goswami body was very lean and thin from the practice of a great austerities, and he was wearing only a kopin. Krishnadas offered his danvats, and Sanatan Goswami in turn offered him a grass mat to sit on. Krishnadas touched the mat with his hand and sat on the ground. He appealed to the Goswami, Baba, please bestow your mercy on me. So Sanatan replied, quote, I am a beggar. What mercy can I bestow upon you? I simply want your blessings. My boat is stuck on the sandbar in the Yamuna, and we can free it by any means. So I'm completely ignorant about all these matters. You can speak to Madan Gopal about it. So Krishnadas offered his danvat to Madan Mohanji and spoke to him. O Madan Gopal Dev, if by your mercy my boat is freed, then whatever profit is realized from the sale of its cargo, I'll give this to Goswami to be engaged in your service. So praying this way, Kapoor Sen took leave from the Sanatan Goswami. And that afternoon, there was such a downpour of rain that the boat very easily floated off the sandbar and on the Mathura. So Krishna Das could understand that this was the mercy of the Lord, Madan Gopal Dev. So his goods were sold at a very handsome profit, and with his money, he constructed a temple and kitchen and made all the necessary arrangement for the royal executions of Sri Madan Gopal's worship. Seeing this arrangement, Sanatan Goswami was very happy, and after some period of time initiated Krishna Das Kapoor as his disciple. Sri Madan Mohan Dev is presently worshipped at Karoli, Rajasthan, when the daughter of the king of Jaipur was offered in marriage to the king of Karoli. She very insistently requested that her father send Lord Madan Mohan with her as a dowry, as she was very attached to him. Her father was very reluctant and agreed only after stipulating one condition. Madan Mohan would be placed in a room with many other deities. Whoever she chose while blindfolded would go with her to Karoli. So Madan Mohan reassured her by telling her that she would be able to recognize him by the soft touch of his arm. By this stratagem, she easily recognized Madan Mohan, who still reside in Karoli till today. So there is a direct bus to Karoli from Jaipur. Otherwise, one can go by the train from Mathura to Hindaun and then from there to Paroli by bus, or you can rent the car. So one day Sanatan Goswami came to Radhakund to meet Sri Rupa and Raghunath Das Goswami. Upon his arrival, they both got up to greet him, and after respectfully sitting him, they immersed themselves in discussion of the nectarian pastime of Sri Radha and Krishna. And at that time, Srila Rupa Goswami was composing some hymns in praise of Srimati Radharani, collectively known as the Chatu Pushpanjali. Sanatan Goswami, while reading this, came across one verse. The translation goes like that here. Blalangana Femnam means that the braids of Radharani's hair appear very beautiful, like the hoods of a snake. Sanatan Goswami reflected, is that a proper comparison, like the hood of a poisonous snake? At noon, Sanatan came to the banks of Radhakund and offered prayers and began to take his bath. Then on the opposite bank of the Kund, he noticed some cowherd girls playing under the shade of a large tree. As he watched them from the distance, it appeared that a black snake hanging from the tree was about to wrap itself around the neck and shoulder of one of the cowherd girls. Sensing some danger, he called out to her, "Oi, Lali, look out! There is a snake just behind you." But the girl was absorbed in their play and didn't take notice of him. So he immediately took off, running to save them from the impending danger. Seeing him approaching them, Srimati Radharani and her friends began to laugh. Then they disappeared. Sanatan was completely stunned when he gradually, the understanding came to him that Sri Rupa's composition was really appropriate. So coming to the bank of Pavan Sarovar, Sanatan Goswami entered into some woods there and giving up food and water. He became absorbed in intense meditation on the lotus feet of Sri Radha Govind, Sri Krishna, who is within the heart of everyone. Could understand that his devotee was going without food. So he came there in the dress of a cowherd boy with a pot of milk in his hand and stood smiling before the Sanatan Goswami. "Baba, I bought you some milk for you." "Oh, Lala, why have you gone to such trouble for me? I saw you are sitting here for so long without any food. How do you know that I am not eating anything?" So Krishna replied, "I come here to pasture my cows, and I watch you see what you are doing, but you never take any food. You should have sent someone else. You are just a small boy. You have suffered some difficulty in bringing this milk here." "No, no, Baba. It was notable. At home, everyone else was busy. So I was happy to be able to come myself." So Sanatan Goswami requested the boy to sit down while he transferred the milk into another container. "Nah, Baba, I can't sit down now. It's almost sunset. I have to milk my cow now. I will come to get the pot tomorrow." So when Sanatan looked up, there was no one there. He could understand Sri Krishna himself had brought him this milk. With tears of love streaming down his cheek, he drank the milk. From that day, he gave up fasting and would go to the bag some foodstuff from the Brajvasis. And the Brajvasi also built him a small hut. So one day, Rupa Goswami had a desire to cook some sweet rice for his elder brother Sanatan. But he had none of the necessary ingredients. Sri Radha Thakurani, who fulfilled the desire of her devotees, could understand everything. Dressing herself as a cowherd girl, she came there carrying a basket containing rice and sugar with a pot of milk in her other hand. "Swamin, Swamin, please accept this offering which I have bought." So hearing someone calling in such a sweet voice, he opened the door of the kutir and saw an extremely beautiful cowherd girl standing there with a present of rice, sugar, and milk in her hand. Lily, what bring you here so early this morning? Swamin, I came to bring you this present. Oh, but you have gone to so much trouble. What trouble? I have come to serve the sadhus. Susila requested her to sit down, but she replied that there was much work at home, so she shouldn't sit down just now, and then she was gone. Siripa looked up and saw that there was no one there and was a little startled. Now, where did she run off to go so quickly from my sight? So he prepared the sweet rice, and after offering to see Giridhari, he gave the prasadam to his elder brother Sanatan Goswami. And Sanatan was in total ecstasy while accepting this prasadam and inquired to Rupa Goswami, from where did you get the rice and milk? So Rupa replied, one cowherd girl bought everything. So Sanatan asked, just like that? Suddenly she brought everything? Yes, this morning I was thinking to make some sweet rice for you. And just after that, I saw one cowherd girl standing before our kutir with all the ingredients in her hands. As Sanatan heard this, tears began to glide down his cheeks. And the taste of this sweet rice, it's from another world because it was prepared by none different than Srimati Radharani. Who else could have brought such ingredient but Srimati Radha Thakurani herself? Don't desire like this again. So every day Sri Sanatan Goswami would circumambulate the 14 miles circumference of Govardhan Hill. As he became advanced in years, this became somewhat difficult. But he was not inclined to give up his vow. So Krishna, however, could understand that it was difficult for him. So he came to him one day dressed as a cowherd boy. Baba, you have become old now. So I think it isn't necessary for you to circumambulate Govardhan Hill anymore. No, Lala, this is my regular vow, my worship. Lala says, you can renounce the vow in your old age. No, Lala, one should never renounce his vow. Baba, I have a very good idea. If you will accept it. If it is acceptable, surely I will accept it. Then Sri Krishna presented him a stone from the Govardhan Hill with the imprints of his lotus feet, a calf's hoofprint, an impression of a stick and a flute on it. Baba, this is a Govardhan Sila. What will I do with this? You can circumambulate this Sila. And that will be the same as circumambulating Giri Govardhan. Saying this much, the cowherd boy disappeared. Then Sanatan could understand that Giriraj himself had presented his worshipable form of that Sila. From that day, he would circumambulate that Sila. This Sila is also, if you go to the Radha Damodar temple, you can see that by offering some money to they normally cover with the cloth, but if you give them some money, they will show you. So sometimes Sri Sanatan used to stay at Madan Mohan Mahavan, and one day he saw some cowherd boys playing on the bank of Yamuna, and amongst them was one boy whom he thought was Madan Gopal. Is that my Madan Gopal playing there? No, it must be one of the local village boys. Then on the other day, as he was passing by the Yamuna, there again he saw the same boy and thought, this time let me wait and see where he goes. And finally, as evening approached, the boys finished playing and set out for their respective home. And following behind that particular boy, sure enough, Sanatan saw him enter the temple. And then he could understand that Madan Gopal goes every day to the banks of Yamuna to play with the other boys. So we are always wants to remain punctual. It's our time to close our session. With those thoughts, always remain happy, jubilant, and totally fearless. And whoever you come across, give them a kind word that their life can also become successful and totally fearless. With those thoughts, I would like to offer my humble obeisances at the dusk of these assembled Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis for joining, taking the austerity waking up early despite so many hectic life that we are living today. So may Krishna bless us all. With those thoughts, also I will have to give a class in the temple at 7:30. So I will take everybody's leave. Wish you a very blissful day. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
शाकपतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः।
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी प्रणाम। हरि बोल।
हरि बोल माता जी, हरि बोल।